Alright, so this review is going to be basically about the iPad, but it's strictly going to be from an artist's point of view. I'm not going to be talking into details about the technical features, nothing about that. I'm just going to go straight to the point on how good it is, or let me say how best is going to suit the workflow of an artist. So the first I'm going to talk about is the battery health. So regarding the battery health, I charged the iPad to 100% and I was drawing constantly for about 15 minutes and it stayed at 100%, surprisingly, for all that 15 minutes. And it wasn't like I was doing some simple artwork. I was testing the brushes and then drawing random stuff to see how strong the battery is going to, perform. So I used the mixer brush in Adobe Fresco. Since it's a live brush, it's going to help me to tell how best the battery works with this. So this is the watercolor feature in Adobe Fresco, where the paint is actually kind of active. You can tell that it's wet and it's mixing with the other colors on the canvas. So with all this, the battery stayed at 100% for 15 solid minutes. You can actually replace your laptop if you want to, because it performs way better than how Photoshop performs on most computers, even my Alienware laptop here. So I've been using this iPad for the past 2.5 weeks, which is just above 15 days, and I've only charged it like 6 times. So if you think about it, for 15 days that I've charged for like 6 times, that means it's quite sustainable, meaning I charge it like every 2 days or more, sometimes 2.5 days. Yeah, you can do the math. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the performance. So the performance of this iPad is very, very good, even better than anything you would see on any other Windows PC that you've used, even though this is just an iPad. And I'm sure this is all because of the M1 silicon chip. So this is the biggest size of the brush, watercolor brush size, and I'm going to demonstrate how it works. As you can see, there's almost no lag, even though this is the biggest brush size. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to use the biggest brush size in Photoshop, but it keeps lagging every time you draw. But this one, being an iPad, seems to keep up with the Apple Pencil as you draw. Now, as an artist, the screen quality is going to be very, very necessary. And this is an LCD display, and most people don't seem to like LCD, but this LCD is actually really good. You might not even realize that it's not LCD. You might even think it's the same as the ones they use for the MacBooks, the OLED displays. And actually, I don't really see any difference. Even if I turn it to the side, it still looks normal. It looks way better than most laptop displays that I've seen. And if you ask me, this is probably one of the best tablet displays ever, aside the OLED display for the iPad Pro. And the quality of colors that it displays are very, very cool. It's almost just like I don't know if the color quality is going to change because I'm also making a video directly from the screen. It's definitely going to change, but as you can see, everything looks really cool. So in terms of screen color quality, it's quite okay, way better than average, as you can see. Now let's move on to the camera quality. So for the camera, especially for the video part, the rear camera, that's the camera at the back, takes 4K 60 frames per second, and it's kind of hard to change the settings unless you're using a third-party app like Pro Movie or Filmic Pro or whatever you can use. And the front camera is actually kind of weird. It's just 1080p 60 frames per second, which is kind of low, but I don't think anyone would buy an iPad mainly because they want to shoot content while there's an iPhone for that, because an iPhone clearly does that way better. And the camera of the iPad doesn't really do well in low light situations, so you might not want to take a lot of photos or videos in the place that is well low lit, like nighttime videography or something. So this device is not really a good choice for night photography. Why would I even use it for photography in the first place? But for me as an artist and an animator, I definitely use this to take pictures for reference and make videos for animation references. So yeah, and even the lowest quality of the latest smartphones that we have right now can actually do that job pretty well. Now, the use of the Apple Pencil makes the iPad feel a lot better, trust me. As an artist, I don't think you would ever want to buy the iPad without a pencil, because the pencil is actually what makes you get the feel of being an artist. So if I use the Apple Pencil, you can tell there's absolutely no lags, even with the highest brush size on all the brushes. Even with the live brushes on the highest size, it seems to be seamless. Absolutely no lag, and you can see it's blending through all the other colors. And the funny thing is, after this whole live animation has been played, I can still undo it and go back to how it was. See? And I can even use the oil paintbrush, which also kind of mixes with other stuff in real time, as you can see. And this is all because I'm using the Apple Pencil. It makes it, easier, makes you feel more like you're actually holding a brush, and it feels even way better than using a Wacom tablet, trust me. Way better than a Wacom, Beyond, or whatever you use. And it also senses the tilts. So if I paint like this, it feels different from when I paint like this. So as you can see, this looks bigger, but when I make it like this, it looks very small. So yeah, for example, if you're trying to if you're drawing with a pencil, the tilt sensitivity will really help. So you can draw straight, thin lines by just straightening the pencil like this, and you can draw like from the side of the pencil like an actual real pencil like this, so you can shade. So there's like 90 degrees, there's like 60, there's like 45, there's like 30, and there's like 20. As you can see, it can really go very low. This is like 15 degrees tilt, and it can still sense that and shade perfectly like it's being done on paper, which is really good. So yeah, basically as an artist, I don't think we have a lot of standard for the kind of iPad we should use, because basically any iPad from the past 5 or 6 years ago till now, it's not going to be so much different, except the fact that the M1 chip makes the brush very seamless with no lag. But for an artist, I don't think you're going to be doing a lot of heavy duty work directly on a 2D format like this, unless maybe you're doing 3D or sculpting or something. That's a whole different topic to talk about. So is this worth it? Is the iPad Air 5th generation worth it? Yes, it's worth it if you're an artist and you already know what you're doing. Now, if you're a beginner and you want to learn how to draw, I wouldn't recommend this, because drawing with this actually feels very different from drawing on paper and from the Wacom tablets, because of how smooth the surface is and how weird it will feel when you're using the Apple Pencil for the first time. At the beginning, it kind of feels very weird because it's like a whole new experience, and then you're trying to get used to it. It took me like 2 or 3 days to get used to it before I could feel very comfortable to come up with this piece. Yeah, it took me a while to get used to it. So I wouldn't really recommend it's for an artist who's not used to it and doesn't really know what to do, because this iPad is really going to make things too easy for you to actually learn something. So yeah, basically that's all I'm gonna say about this iPad. And if you're an artist, I recommend this if you have the money. If you don't have the money, don't stress yourself. Just focus on the little that you have, because the least is usually the best, actually, when you're trying to improve on your skills. These kind of gadgets are just for convenience sake. When you already know what you're doing with the arts skill, that's when you get these kind of devices to make your work easier. So yeah, don't stress yourself trying to buy any huge device like the iPad, the latest iPad Pro or something. It's part of the reasons why I bought the iPad Air instead of the iPad Pro, because the iPad Pro is kind of expensive and I don't see why I'm supposed to look for luxury right now, since I'm still trying to learn. And I'm also not trying to say the iPad Pro is just meant for pros, but as you can hear from the name, it actually centered the targets on professional artists, if you're going to be using it as an artist, that is. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for this video. Sorry if you're expecting something more technical, but I'm an artist and this is my channel. I'm not going to make videos like MKPhD reviewing every single thing into detail, like the camera quality and then every other thing that doesn't really matter to most artists all over the world. All we care about is the color, the pen display, the response from the pencil, and then the color. I already said color, right? Whatever. So you understand what I'm saying. I'm just going to focus on the things you need as an artist and an animator. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.